Today I'm driving a 2016 Audi S3. This particular car has the factory resonator delete and the sport seats, which are really, really awesome. They have the diamond stitch pattern. The bolstering is pretty good. And they look like they belong in a $100,000 car. I mean, they really, really look the business. It's kind of odd that they're not offered with a power adjustment. I don't know what the rationale was for that, but these are manual adjust only, so if you want power seats, you've got to get the standard sport seat in the S3. It's 2-liter turbocharged, 292 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque, and it's based off the Volkswagen MQB platform, which I love. Super tight structure, feels really, really solid. Even in a base Golf that costs, you know, whatever, 18 grand, really, really good feeling structure. The doors close with a certain tightness that I love. They're really, really quiet, which is good and bad. This car is a little too quiet for an S car. Even with the resonator delete, I don't know if you can hear that, full beans right there, but super quiet inside the cabin. I know these are very well insulated cars, but I did have my wife do a couple of drive-bys, and it's not even that loud outside of the car. That's one of my criticisms of this car, is this engine isn't a particularly good sounding 4. You know, like maybe like an F20, F22 from an S2000, which is a really unique sounding, awesome 4-cylinder. This one kind of just has a 4-cylinder buzz. Doesn't sound great, but overall this car is awesome. Love the steering wheel, love the seats, handles really well. Doesn't plow as much as, say, you know, the V8 S4s, which are really front heavy cars. I prefer this over the current gen V8 S4. I know the V9 is going to drop a bunch of weight and all that. I think this is probably the most exciting car, sedan anyway, they have. I've driven the S6s and a couple of the other ones, but I really like the S3 as a daily driver. This makes a great daily driver. Probably gets 30 miles a gallon on the highway if you keep your foot out of it. This one has the Bang & Olufsen stereo, which is really killer. 750 watts, I think, and it's awesome. 4G LTE, all the nav, all that stuff. It's a good package. Base price of $41,000. If you're shopping for a Golf R, this is certainly makes a case. They're not that much more money. Golf R starts about 36, but that's with a manual. So if you go up to the S-Tronic, those are about 38, I believe. So really, you're only talking 3 grand difference in base price. For me, I'd have to have a manual transmission. It's too bad we don't get this car in a manual. I'll never understand the politics. Like, why did they get the manual car in Europe? They're already making it in Europe. So if we want one, just send us one. I don't get it. But at any rate, the dual clutch in this car is really, really good. It's very smooth. Shifts are really, really quick. I'm in sport mode right now. But at the end of the day, it's an automatic, and it kills a little bit of the fun for me. This is a great daily driver. I wouldn't buy this car if it was, say, your garage furniture, right? Like the car you took out on Sunday to have that awesome drive through the mountains. I'd much rather, I'd save 30 grand and buy the new Miata. As cliche as that sounds. Acceleration in this car, awesome. 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds with launch control. Right? Sounds really good when you shift too. But like I said, it's so well insulated that you don't realize how fast you're going. I mean, you could be doing 80 miles an hour in this car. It feels like you're doing 50, which is good and bad. Again, if it's your daily, you know, you're sitting in traffic, whatever, great. But if it's your Sunday driver, I'm not sure I'd pick this car. It sounds pretty good at full throttle. I mean, that was 60 right there. It's pretty fast. I take this over the Golf R with respect to the design, the way it looks. But because the Golf R is offered with a manual, I would pick that. And I do like the 5-door, you know, the hatchback versatility is great. Now, Car and Driver just tested one of these. Well, they tested a bunch of cars at their annual lightning lap at VIR. And I think what really makes a compelling argument here is the GTI was only a couple seconds slower than the Golf R and the S3, and for about 15 grand less. And that car with a tune, I'm sure, would be faster than both. So unless you need all-wheel drive, you live up north, whatever, I get it, you need all-wheel drive, I think the GTI is the best value. Or unless you're one of those guys that's got to have the R badge or the S badge. And I'm cool with that, I get it. I don't know if I'm that guy. I mean, look, if money was no object, of course I would take the R or the S. And it is special to say that you own a limited production car. You know, I have the S car or the R car. But for my money, I'm buying the GTI at 25,000 bucks. Manual transmission, you know, almost as fast as these cars. And still MQB, so you get that build quality feel that, you know, it doesn't look like this car, obviously. Flat bottom steering wheel. I mean, the steering wheel looks amazing. And these sports seats, I'll say it again, with the, you know, the diamond stitch pattern or quilted, whatever they want to call it, they look amazing. It is kind of fun to play with the floppy paddles, but this car is really fast. But it's not a manual. You know, you can shift it down here with the stick. You can use the paddles, whatever. You can put it in sport mode. There's a few different ways to do this. You know, with a computer these days, I mean, it's literally like playing a video game. I did, you know, I drove an E36 M3 last week, and it just feels like a car, and this feels like a video game. I mean, I hate to say that, right? But I guess manufacturers don't have a lot of choice anymore. I mean, they have to put 40 airbags in it, and it has to have all the safety garbage. And so, you know, everything feels more and more detached. And I guess that's why, like, E30 M3s and air-cooled 911s and all those cars are going crazy in value, because new cars just don't feel good anymore. And in 5 years, everything will be autonomous anyway. As far as I'm concerned, this thing feels really autonomous. I'm enjoying the drive, but, all right, let's give it full minutes right here. It's so fast, but it doesn't feel it. It's got a little digital boost gauge right here, which I think is a horrible idea because it's down and right on the tachometer, and I'm looking at the road when I'm driving, so you don't ever see it. That's kind of a waste. But other than that, great daily driver, awesome stereo, very well insulated, doesn't really have much competition aside from the Golf R. I guess you could say the M235 BMW, but if you need a back seat, then that's not the car. So really, this and the Golf R, and like I said, the delta in price, they're virtually identical. So just pick which one you like, right? If you want the more grown-up Audi, if you want the utility, the versatility of a hatch, get the Golf R. And if you're a penny pincher, I think the GTI is just as fun to drive. It's actually more fun than this car because of the manual. I haven't driven a DSG GTI yet, and those are probably like 28 grand base price. For the money, buy the GTI. You know, save 15 grand, maybe get a used Miata for your garage furniture or whatever. But I like this car for 30 grand maybe. Certainly not for this one, as tested, 54,000, prestige, sports seats, Bang & Olufsen, all the options. That's all I have for you guys today. Cool car. I'd probably skip it and buy a GTI, but really, really nice package overall. Thanks.